inlay. And what I mean by that is create rubber flooring and put strips of wood in between the rubber flooring so they're flush at the same level. And I really wanted to make sure that I had a flush surface so that the rubber, the wood, the rubber was continuous and then was continuous with the turf.
It was smart.
Right. Trying to think what else did we feature in your article? Well, where can people check out that article?
I think I did the post this past Monday. So it was Monday's post, Garage of Dreams, and it's up on my blog, The Bikini Experiment. So you definitely check it out because it has pictures and kind of a little more detail behind everything we're speaking to.
But I would just say that the take-homes, if you want to be able to train in your own place, and I got to say, it's my favorite place I've ever trained in my life. I mean, how could it not be? It's everything I could possibly think of from every detail on backward. But you can control your own music. You don't have to have the stupid earbuds like sticking in your ears and like the headphone cord.
Earbuds are annoying. I will give you that. Sometimes when I'm at the end of my workouts, like my ears even just hurt. I'm just tired of wearing them. Like no more music, no more anything. I just want silence.
Or
nothing in my ears.
Or there's nothing worse than starting a workout with music.
Ooh, and then you don't have. And then it
dies. It cuts out midway.
Yeah. I was having that problem the other day with that, like the iPhone armband with this plastic cover screen.
And I had enough of, like I really want to do my Olympic lifting and with music. And so if you're gonna contact the bar in the snatch or the clean, you're gonna have the bar hit your thigh or hit above your hips in the crease of your hips. And if you're trying to have music, it's gonna hit your cord. It's gonna rip it out of your ears. Like,
oh yeah, there's just never a good place for the headphones. And like sometimes I'll hit if I tuck it in like my pants, like the top of my pants. I'll like knock into it. I skip songs. I mean, it's a problem.
Oh, I've smashed.
You've smashed? I haven't smashed.
Oh, I've actually.
I'm not really a smasher by nature.
I broke one of my MP3 players with a bar like during a snatch. Like I actually smashed it. It cracked it.
Casualty.
But, being able to just set your music and be free. Being able to set up mobility space so that I could transition seamlessly from doing any sort of mobilizations or tissue work or any of that to actual training is just a really novel and very different space saver.
Yeah.
So,
and you put a staggering amount of work into the gym. I mean, you built a lot of the pieces yourself. I mean, even pieces you could have bought, you made yourself to save money, and you didn't even have good tools.
No.
How many times did you redo your plate rack?
I think it's like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I redid it 3 times.
You showed me that tutorial online, and you were like, "Oh, this is going to be so easy." Well, maybe if you had a better set of tools or something like that, it would have flown a little better.
I think also though, as I was building things, I looked at how much time or how much money it's going to cost to build it. And there are times, and I recommend this for anybody, that you run the numbers. How much is the equipment going to cost you? How much is the lumber? How much is what's the sum total of the cost that's going to take you to make that piece? And then compare it to what it is prefabricated, and then figure in your time and see, is that worth upgrade? Like, is it worth just buying? For me,
right,
I am so crazy about the details, and I've been so just pissed off for 17 years of like, I don't like the way that certain things are. That
you wanted it
my
way you wanted,
and the way that bumper plate racks.
Say that 5 times fast.
Oh my gosh. Is the way that they're usually built is it's just a box and they're freestanding, but you lose all that space above it. So I really wanted, a covering, like a box on top that I could still put things on top of it and still utilize that space above. So I had to jury it up. I mean, I had to jury rig it.
Yeah.
So those type of things were...
Well, you learn as you go.
You learn as you go.
No matter how much you know, you can always go further.
Absolutely.
I mean, you have never built a bumper plate rack before,
right.
So
right.
There's a little bit of a learning curve there.
Right, and I think that it's just about having an idea and then walking out and say, I'm going to fail until I get it right. Mm-hmm. But I absolutely knew every time I failed, I wasn't really upset about it. I was just...
You have a really good attitude about that. I feel like I get more emotional, and you kind of just look at it as more of... It's like part of the process.
Well, it
I mean,
is.
I think you've even said that to me. Like, I think I get, like, computer problems, like, cause me to have a major meltdown. You're like, it's just part of the process.
Right.
So...
I mean, I think failure... Good. I think failure in this culture is unfortunately seen as a step backward, where it's not. It's actually a step along the way.
Well, you improve for the next time, the next go around,
and it's literally part of the process. It's just, all right, I have to go through it this many times, and I see what I want. I see the way that I want this to look, and I'm going to get there. Regardless of how many additions it comes, and certain things it took me one time, certain things took me 4, and,
right?
And it's just commit to yourself that you're going to make this what you want it to be, but also on the other side of it, don't let it drive you to madness.
Right, it's fine. It's like keeping you motivated, but not making you feel crazy either. And I mean, it's kind of what you have to take with you, whether, you're someone who does one throw-in facility like you did, or, the average gym goer, just a little bit, investing that time, that energy, doing a little, trial and error, and understanding it's part of the process. You might go to 3 gyms before you find the right one. You might have to work out with a couple of different trainers before you find the right one. I mean, it's all a process.
I agree. So if you want to check that out, Lauren did a really kind thing. It was nice, and just sort of looked back at watching me build this gym and put together a really nice blog post on it. So you can check that out at the Bikini Experiment. But I actually kind of wanted to ask you before we move on about this, what it was like watching it. Like, what was it like, or what was it like, the experience on your side? Maybe frustrating that I was always up there building this thing, or I don't know, what was it like for you?
I mean, maybe there was some frustration because as you were like, say, even just the shelf that you were talking about building, like that it took you 3 tries, I'd be like, oh my God, he's still up there doing the same thing, like what's going on, and so I'd look at things like that, and I guess I'd see how you'd be working late at night because it was, a little bit cooler out. So it's kind of, you weigh it. Do you want to do it late, and take advantage of the cooler weather? So, I mean, I think I just saw what a journey it was for you. I mean, it was what I would equate to a true labor of love. I mean, when you have a passion for something, you almost have blinders on. And I mean, you made a lot of sacrifices to get to the end goal, to get to this product. You would, come back here and maybe grab something quick to eat, and you'd be like, this has to be cleaned up. This has to be done today. And you were just really intent and really focused. And I guess I know that's part of who you are. So I really respect it. And anything you saw as a frustration, I mean, I definitely experienced with you.
Cool.
But I mean, the end result's awesome. It looks great. Looks really great.
And so,
and I've even worked out in it in the middle of the day, and it's not nowhere near as hot as I thought it would be. So if I can do it, anybody would be fine.
Right. But that's even, this is the hottest time of the year too. So it's just, the nice thing about Austin is that there's always a time that you can be outside. Mm-hmm. It's just what time of day you can be out. And
like all those things you said before are really cool. The music, the atmosphere, kind of having everything at your fingertips, having an area for everything, your shoes, your water, your keys, the plates go here, like everything has its place. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's a really awesome space. I think you did an awesome job.
Thank you. So we were training, down there today, or up there today. And one thing that, so Lauren was training today, and I was working with her. She switched to, the majority of her squatting and her deadlifting was done barefoot for
Yeah,
quite
which
a while.
I've been doing for a while.
For quite a while, to get just a really solid surface through the feet, and
I still have a ways to go, but
I
yes.
I highly recommend that if your choice is working out in a sneaker or barefoot, just please train barefoot.
Yeah, I don't see enough people doing that when I go to the
No.
gym. I mean, people are in the really the sneakers with really dense soles, and
Right.
it's not.
And,
It's
and
not
you're
good.
it's just walking around on marshmallows.
A little bit, yeah.
Not a little. I mean, a lot.
Well,
I mean,
a lot, yeah.
Every time you're putting force down into that shoe, it just squishes it.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at just trying to stand on a marshmallow surface, and that's not giving you a stable base with which to create force and to be strong through. So you're not really getting the full benefit of putting your body through that movement because you're constantly wobbly.
Yeah.
So you've been training for a while in those. I had you barefoot, but recently we've gotten you into some Olympic lifting shoes.
I bought weightlifting shoes. That's right. We have matching ones. Well, mine are purple.
Right,
Yours are
but
not.
the Do Wins from Muscle Driver, and one of the things about an Olympic weightlifting shoe is it gives you that amazing solid wooden base, right?
Right.
Or like hard flat surface, right? But it's slightly elevated.
Yeah, they definitely feel different. I mean, they take a little adjusting to get used to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And my recommendation for anybody out there who's making this switch from either barefoot to an Olympic shoe or from a squishy shoe to barefoot is that it's going to change the way you experience your weight distribution. And
Yes.
there isn't really so much transition to go from squishy shoe to barefoot because you just feel great almost immediately. Like within taking them off a couple sets, you feel great because it's just more stable. But when going from barefoot back up to now an Olympic shoe, you have this slight elevation. So for things like squats and for deadlifts, one of the main things we've had to break you of is just leading your hips back as the first thing you do, and instead sitting down with a very vertical back and pushing the knees out.
Well, I mean, for me, when did I meet you? When did I start training with you?
I don't know.
Oh, that's right. You have no concept of time. Why am I asking?
3 years?
A little over 3 years ago, I think we started. Maybe, like 3.5 years ago, I guess. And, I mean, I'd never really worked out my entire life, and I'm in my 30s. So, I mean, as I'm going into kind of learning these new movements, there's a learning curve. I mean, you were training the young kid at Cats the other night, and it's amazing, like, what even in a session, it's amazing what you were able to do with him. But for me, the technique is like a real work in progress. I think just because of these sort of limitations you have from not moving well, not moving enough for a really long time. I mean, I had a desk job. I sat all day. I didn't work out, so I go home and sit some more. Maybe I go for a walk.
Yeah,
so, I was not active.
Sitting.
Yeah, I sat for a long time.
You're tired of sitting all day, so you went home and sat to recover from sitting.
It makes you tired.
It does.
I mean, what is they saying? Sitting's the new smoking?
Well,
Sitting's the new smoking?
My quote is sitting is death. It just takes years off your life. It
does. But.
So, but one of those just changes is having to first push the knees out like you're about to start into a squat, but just sitting down maybe an inch and not pushing the hips back, keeping the hips locked, like your butt just tight and locked, and pushing the knees out, and then from there pushing the hips back.
That is not the reason I feel so many people get hurt. I mean, because they already are in an improper pattern, and they keep throwing weight on, and they sort of, my knee's hurting, this is hurting a little bit, but I'll just, I'll work through it. It's normal. It's like the... feeling the burn. It's the aches and pains of, working out, and people don't listen to that enough, and I think that that's how they end up with serious injury. It's like they don't have someone teach them, proper pattern, or, they just kind of go about it on their own, or maybe they don't have, good guidance, but it troubles me because I feel like that's why so many people get hurt.
It is. But So actually, time flew on this one, I guess, because we were talking about garages. But
I mean, I know garage talk always flies by fast.
But
for
where
me.
can plug